My laptop, so we're good.
All right,
And then what was she with?
I need to fix this. Sorry,
Go ahead.
why is my camera on?
Is that new?
I don't know.
Drop shooting.
Trap shooting. Thank you.
County. Yeah. Steve Jackson.
AFC.
Pretty good.
Cap.
Cap.
I switched credits for me. What RS are you with?
United Greek Council.
United Greek Council. Thank you. Okay, RS, MGC, got it.
We're cooking. We're cooking.
We're cooking. We're doing good.
We're good.
What RS are you? Moda. Ooh,
MODA.
love it. Thank you.
How are you? Living? Oh, yeah. Somehow.
RSO? Alps. That's right.
That's my face. That's just nothing.
A Crier. Yes. Thank you.
There we go.
Go.
Good.
Hi. Go and what's MTA? Music teachers. Okay, I remember you. That's the grad, right? Grad? Music graduate student?
Yep.
Mugs? Okay, thank you. And then crew? Thank you.
Or you.
How about you? Club Esports. Okay, thank you. Alpha Phi Alpha. Thank you. What are some?
Fast relation pilots.
Okay, Papa.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Broncothon,
Broncathon. What date? What's the date?
February 17th.
February 17th.
Coming up.
That's coming up. Okay.
I know. National Gay Pilots Association.
And GPA.
And GPA. Thank you. How about you?
My card, for the court.
Lead core.
Yeah. 66106078. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Rock
What-
climbing club.
Rock climbing. Got it. Thank you. How about you? Sunseeker.
Oh, that's loud. My apologies.
Guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started here in the next couple minutes once we get enough chairs in here. Seems to be an issue that we're having every single week. I do see seats here in the middle that are free and seats up here in the front couple rows. We will also be bringing chairs up under the wings here.
Are you new? This is your first time here?
It's first time this semester, yeah.
Okay. Indonesian. Student message. Thank you.
Yeah, so how does that work? Okay, I'm gonna put you two guys.
Tyler.
What RS are you with?
Go to Tyler. Thank you.
Powerlifting?
Power.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't
No,
realize.
you're good. You're all good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. How about you?
I'm not sure.
Mock trials. How about you? What RS are you? Okay. What RSO?
Out for business?
Oh, cool. Okay. All for business.
Yes.
Out?
Out.
Out for business.
Yeah.
Out for. Okay. Perfect. And then you can grab a voting card and swipe in with Travis. Thank you guys. Hi, Bronco
Makers Club?
Makers.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Do you know?
Sigma Phi Epsilon.
Sigma Phi Epsilon. There's so many Sigmas on this. Sigma Phi. Got it. Thank you so much. What RS are you? Kappa. Wait, Sigma Phi. Sigma Phi Alpha. I'll go get it. What RSO?
Sigma Phi Alpha?
What? I don't have my card on.
Student veterans.
Yeah. Got it.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll put you down. You're fine.
Veterans. Thank you.
Let me try the new one. Thank you.
Where's Bird?
Not, not here. Haven't seen her. It's 5:31.
She was.
Else Martin. Oh, God.
No.
Pretty cool.
No shit.
A wee bit.
What's our attendance at?
Hold on. 79.
79's RSOs. All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Jordan, you want to come sing our fight song? Everybody, please rise. Sing loud. Onward to the ground.
Wait, what?
All right, everyone, and welcome to this, our first meeting of our new semester. With this first meeting of a new semester, just to let you guys know, this meeting is being currently live streamed onto YouTube. We are pretty famous, so say hi to, I'm sure my mom is watching. Hello, my mom. All right, so let's go ahead and move really quickly into the land acknowledgement statements, as this is a voting meeting. Oh, also, I officially call this meeting to order at 5:33. My apologies. We would like to recognize that Western Michigan University is located on lands historically occupied by Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations. Please take a moment to acknowledge and honor this ancestral land of the Three Fires Confederacy and the sacred lands of all Indigenous peoples with their continued presence. All right, moving on, we'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes for our previous voting meeting all the way back in December. So is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the December 6, 2023 meeting? Is there a second to that motion? As this motion does not deal directly with money, consent can be called. Consent has been called. Is anyone in opposition? Hearing and seeing none, we will now move on. The motion passes. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda. Before we actually get into the approval of the agenda, I will ask for a motion to fix the date up here. Clearly, I am not ready for this new year. So is there a motion to make that January 17th, 2024? Is there a second to that motion? Consent? Consent having been called. Is there anyone in opposition? Hearing, seeing none, the very easy motion is passed, and we'll make it's already reflected in the drive and on the minutes. I just goofed on the PDF. Oops, guys. Also, the name is wrong too. That's funny. So with that, we can now move on to approval of the agenda. Unless there are any other motions to amend, is there any motion to approve or otherwise? Is there a second to that motion? Consent? Consent having been called. Is anyone in opposition? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes and our agenda has approved. We will move swiftly on to communications. The chair recognizes President Kayla Bird, Vice President Mariana Bringus, and Chief of Staff Melissa Powers.
Good afternoon, happy Western Wednesday, Broncos. Say good afternoon back. Come on.
Good afternoon.
We can do that. Is that one? Can you hear me? Is that the problem? Okay, am I the problem? All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll work with that. Unfortunately, Mariana was.
You guys want to scooch?
Today, and Melissa will be popping up here in a little bit. I feel honored and privileged to be in front of you guys today, to have a little bit of an update about what has been going on with WSA and what we are doing going forward. So really quick, I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning of last semester, middle of the semester, I had the opportunity to inform you guys of the priorities of our administration. Those being in advocacy, communication, and engagement, the things that we ran on. What we did last semester was pretty cool, I will say. Starters with communication, starters with engagement. Look around and see how big and how many people are in this room. Like, congratulations to you all. Please give yourselves a lot of applause. I'll say congratulations to the legislative team over here and the legislative leadership crew, because they have made this happen. Mason, you're probably going to need to purchase an extra half of the ballroom. So have fun with that. As far as communication, we have continued to bridge gaps with communication, such as creating a student advisory council, as well as an academic advisory council with the provost and the vice president for student affairs. There are some student leaders in this room that will be attending that council, so that we can get more engagement and more of a communication with these administrative leaders, so that your voices can be heard. And then once you know, hey, this person is on this council, or I want to be on this council, or I want to know more about this, you can reach out to one of us so that you can have your voice heard too. Because that is essentially what this is all about, right? Empowered students, empowering students. In addition, Alex, she did a great job last semester creating the legacy, or at least revamping the legacy and getting so much engagement. The engagement that has been created between us and students is like none other. Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but from Vice President Proudfoot, he said that email that gets sent out, the legacy with all of the information about student leaders and what is going on around campus, is one of the most open emails in the whole university. And that's a pretty great accomplishment. So congratulations to Alex and Allie on the marketing and outreach team. Let's give them a lot of applause. In addition, and I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit dry. In addition, we have also been able to uplift Western Wednesdays again. So I don't know where Jordan is, he's over here. If you ever have the opportunity, or you want to reach out and say, hey, I want my RSO to be promoted more, reach out to us and we will help you do that. Because that is, again, what this is all about. We are trying to empower you guys to lift up your own organizations. So I'm going to give another round of applause to Jordan. There are so many people that I want to say thank you to in this room. I could go down the list. I could say Nick, I could say Tyler, I could say Leah, I could say all of you assembly members that show up on a constant basis and have your voice heard, because that is what makes us who we are. We can't have a student government without each and every one of your individual voices, and you make that possible. And when we speak with you guys and you guys speak with your own student organizations and we connect with the campus, that's what makes us Western, right? That's what makes us proud to be a Bronco. I don't know about you guys, but it is the first, well, I guess second week of classes, and I'm already tired. And we technically ended school early on Friday, and I'm already tired. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the education, of course. But the thing that makes this place home is the connections that you guys have with your own organizations. And that's what makes it so special. So thank you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause for being student leaders and being advocates in your own community and making change possible. I'm going to try to keep this quick because I know this is the first meeting of the year. So I'm going to hop into some things that are going on next semester as well. I apologize that I was not able to thank everyone that I would like to thank, but again, I'm trying to get you guys out of here as quickly as possible. As far as things going on next semester, when I looked at the calendar, there was so many details that I'm pretty sure almost every other day, being that like 51 out of the 71 days that we're actually on campus, there's something that is happening in this organization. There's something that is engaging with students across campus so that we can bridge those gaps in communication, bring up advocacy, and support engagement on different levels. I will say that there is the Student Leadership Summit that will be happening later this semester. There is Green Week that will be hosted, I don't know where Allison is, she's all the way over there, by Allison, and she's been championing that. There is DEI Week that will be uplifted this semester by Leah and the rest of the executive team, helping her out with that. There's dinner with delegates. There's so many ways to get involved. And you guys showing up makes that possible. I'm sorry. I am so proud to be a part of this organization, or to be in this position and have this opportunity to connect with you guys on a different level. Because there's nothing more empowering than empowering other people. So that makes this a little bit hard, because there's so many things that are going on, and I am so proud of the things that will continue to happen. With that being said, and this is a little bit of an awkward transition, I would like to inform you all that on Friday, December 12th, so this past Friday, I informed my executive cabinet that I would be resigning from this position. I did that because to give you a little bit more context of what has been happening behind the scenes, with all of the good stuff, I did that because on December 17th, I had received articles of expulsion against myself and Vice President Mariana, as well as a letter from cabinet asking us to resign. I say this not because I want to say like, oh yeah, this is everything that's going on, but like, I want to be transparent with you guys. I personally think that there are things that I could have done better. I think that there are some things that were out of my control, but I do want to respect you guys as student leaders and respect some of the asks that were asked of me by my cabinet, because at the end of the day, it's all about empowering students, and I want to make sure that this organization is in the best hands and the best capability possible. I have tried my best in this position. However, I think that some things on my side could have been better. Some things within the organization could have been better. However, at the end of the day, I think there was a difference in communication, a difference in leadership styles, and that is okay. That being said, I am so excited about what else the organization will do, even though I'm not necessarily in the position leading this effort. That is hard to say because you guys are inspiring. You guys being here every day, coming up, showing up is inspiring. You guys doing this, speaking up, showing love, doing all of the things that you do on a daily basis, being student leaders, going to school, going to your organizations, going to your events, it's inspiring. But I think that I might be better fit in a different position. I'm sorry, I have thought about how much I wanted to, or how to say this in so many different ways, and there is never a right way to say it, but I want to be honest with you guys. And I'm telling you all of this information, not to be like, oh yeah, this is what happened, but to say, I want to be transparent with you guys. And from what I've heard and what I haven't yet heard, I don't know all of the details or what were in the articles of expulsion or what that would have looked like or anything like that. But what I have heard and what I maybe haven't heard is that at the end of the day, the big thing is communication. So advocate, communicate, and engage, right? And I say this because as student leaders, there are going to be challenges that you all face, and there are going to be opportunities that you all will have to use your voice. And even today, there will be opportunities that you guys have to use your voice. And I encourage you not to necessarily hold things on your hearts, but to speak them out. Come up with ideas of how we can amend things so that we can serve to a different purpose. or not serve to a different purpose, but serve to the best purpose possible, so that we can continue working together. Right? I am again so honored that I had the opportunity to have this position. However, I have decided to step down after much thought, deliberation, sleepless nights, dreams, different things like that. And I don't know, my heart is heavy, but I'm very proud of what the organization is. I'm very proud of the amount of people that are in this room. I'm very proud of all of you all for showing up, and I urge you guys to continue to use your voice, because one of the things that I thought that could have gone maybe a little bit better is if we had better communication, better saying, hey, this is what's going on, right? So today you guys are going to hear about different things that are going on. You're going to hear about changes in the budget or changes with some of the allocations modules. However, I encourage you not to keep that down. I encourage you to speak your voices, because nothing can change if you don't speak your voice. And what will happen if you don't speak up and then you change things later, or you say, I don't want to ask any questions now and I just want to make my decision based off of what I know, is that you won't know the whole truth, or you won't know the whole story. And that is all I can really ask of you guys, is to speak your truth. Learn with love, live with love, and continue to be the great student leaders that I know you are. I'm going to stop babbling. But at the end of the day, I just want to say that it was an honor to serve in this position. Was a privilege to see all of the stuff that happened last semester. I'm so excited to see all of the stuff that will happen this semester. I'm so proud of the people that I have worked with, all of you all in the room, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Even though I may not be in this specific position. And if you see me around, say hi, because I love you guys all dearly. Yeah, so I'm going to pass it to Melissa, and I believe it's Natalie, so that they can come in and talk about what's going to happen next.
You like me to say? I'm kicking stuff over here. Pursuant to Article 7 of the Constitution of the Western Student Association, we have is our line of succession. So first, of course, it is the president, and we have our vice president. And as both the president and the vice president lines have been exhausted, we now move on to our chief of staff. Our chief of staff this year is Melissa Powers, and to be sworn in today as president, please take it away. You guys want a microphone?
Repeat after me. I, Melissa Powers. Do solemnly swear. To uphold and protect. The Constitution of the Western Student Association. And the student body for which it represents. And for the student body for which it represents. Woo!
Hello everyone, my name is Melissa Powers and I'm honored to take on the role of student body president. First, I would like to thank Kayla Bird and Mariana Bringers for their dedication and hard work over the course of their term. And I'm excited for the accomplishments that they will have in their future endeavors. Although the change in leadership was unexpected, I'm excited to get started and to continue the amazing work of the Western Student Association and for the student body. The Western Student Association has been empowering and advocating for students for the past 103 years. We are an organization with resilient student leaders who are working to better our campus every day. I am proud of the work that has been done so far this year, and I'm excited to continue on the legacy of the Western Student Association. I'm proud to announce that the current Chief of Finance, Mason Durant, will be going up for confirmation for the position of Student Body Vice President at the next voting meeting of the Assembly, January 31st. Mason is an amazing leader, and I look forward to the goals we will accomplish in the remainder of our term. With this being said, the position of Executive Chief of Staff and Chief of Finance will now be vacant. Applications for these positions will be going up hopefully by the end of this week. I encourage anyone who is interested in being more involved in WSA Executive Board to apply. Thank you all for your patience and support while we make these transitions. And always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, always feel free to reach out. Thank you, and onward for the brown and gold.
Thank you, Caleb Bird and President Melissa Powers. I have been asked for a brief 5-minute recess to allow the Student Center staff to open up the second wall here. We're a little packed in here today, which is great. But so, of course, that is not a unilateral decision for myself. So I am now asking for I'm asking for a motion to recess for 5 minutes. Is there a second to that motion? Consent? Opposition? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes. We will reconvene at 5:58. Win. Safety. What? C. Yes. It's C. If you have not at this time checked in for attendance, please do so.
Hey, I'm here.
What's up, John?
Fine. All right, sorry for being late.
Bro, John, it's all right.
Wow. Congratulations, buddy.
How's it feel?
It's just a declaration that you were here.
You know, a lot more people than you think on your side.
I know.
That was about half the co-sponsor list.
Yeah, she
I know our.
would be the dust there. Yeah.
Oh, she knew it was you. Huh?
Wonder how. I never mentioned anything about this. I know. I set it up. It's good stuff, though.
What's up? Oh, sorry, Jack.
You're good.
If you want to, $3,500.
Sorry.
Go see her. Well, go congrats on Melissa. She'll be great.
Yeah,
I
she
have full
will.
faith in her.
I've heard good things.
Good.
Good
stuff.
Yes,
Hey, take care, Jack.
Yeah, good to see you.
You can be one.
You too. Long time no see.
Oh, yeah, we totally get it.
That's volleyball.
That's fine.
His brother sells his shop, moves to a different country, parties all the money away, comes back and he begs for money from the prison. Have someone here on for representing.
We can write down your name, what ours was. Book club sports. And then what's your name?
Max, M-A-X, Lamperts.
Max.
Lamperc.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
She's over. I know. I saw her. I know she's trying.
What ours? Sigma Kappa. Sigma Kappa. Thank
Sorry.
you.
I already signed it.
Okay, thank you. What ours? Thank you.
I kind of thought Taylor, there was a bunch of positions that are open now. How do I apply?
Possible listings. And the new body press.
Melissa Powers.
What's up, President Roosevelt? Hi. Okay, and how are you? What are sorry? Sorry?
People land again.
Signal. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sigma lived in Gamma?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. There's a lot of Sigmas. Whoa.
Isn't that kind of sick? I'm like, oh my god. Like. I never hated it.
Yeah, that was really awkward.
I thought you were gonna say that I was.
Yes, you walk up to them. I'm president now. I'm gonna get sworn in now.
Yes, no, go ahead and swear me in. By the way, I'm in touch with people. Happy to serve.
You're welcome for this.
Yes, you're welcome. In advance, actually.
Good job. You did good.
Jennifer. Yeah, okay. She already, like, I know her email, she's not mentioning. Oh, okay.
One minute.
I know. I would block.
Yeah, right now.
You should say the sign-in thing again since more people are coming up. Oh, okay.
I don't got time to wait for another big sign-in crash. The meeting's already full. All right, guys, if we could go back to finding our seats, please, so we can get back to this and get out of here as soon as possible. What?
Should I have any sort of like voting cards?
What?
Should I have any like voting cards?
Your voting says? What number meeting is this for you? Greater than 3? All right.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're all good. Thank you.
That will need it. But... All right, if we could come back to order, please. We can go ahead and get started again. My apologies for that break, guys. We have been growing quite a bit, and we're experiencing a little bit of growing pains and trying to fit everyone into this room. We, at the Western Student Association, have to pay for this room, and so it's kind of hard to get both of them. But sometimes the Student Center is awesome and allows us to use the other side there. So if you guys, to transition away from what we were talking about before, I'm going to go ahead and give my presentation on So You Want to Be Speaker. Obviously, the Speaker of the Assembly, my position, is an elected position, elected at the end of every single term. So that'll be this April. I'll go into more depth about that. Last time I gave this almost verbatim presentation was back in November of 2022. So it's been a minute. But So you want to be Speaker? So I hear you guys saying, I hear the cogs going, whoa, what does even the speaker do? I mean, obviously, like, I stand up in front of you guys and I speak, but there's so much that happens behind the scenes. As a matter of fact, probably this time that I spend with you guys is about 10-15% of what I do as speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and go through as soon as I get my bar out of here at the bottom. Whoopsie. Spoiling. Give me one sec here. There we go. From the Constitution, these are all the responsibilities. Act as the Chief Executive Officer of the Assembly. Ensure meetings are conducted in a reasonable manner. That's the fun part. I get to throw people out. So uphold approved legislation. So when legislation is approved, I am tasked with making sure that that legislation is actually, that it goes somewhere. Ensure that the Assembly is a place of personal and leadership development. I've done that in the past through creating the Legislative Leadership Committee. Moving forward, appoint committee chairs, and also, I guess I just never saved this change, and also the head of committees and the membership chair, as well as draft and adhere to the speaker's code, which we'll be voting on later this meeting, as well as nominate and define the roles of the secretary, which is Travis over here. Say hi, Travis. And then also cast tie-breaking votes. I've only ever had to do that once, and it was very dramatic. That was last year. That was super fun. Last year, October, too. So even a couple meetings into my term. So that was fun. And then from the Constitution, Part 2, uphold assembly integrity. So I need to make sure that, we're not going crazy in here. I have to conduct monthly and annual recognitions of outstanding performances, which I do through the Assembly Member of the Month. Assist in the formation of legislation. This is my personal favorite thing that I do. If you have an idea for a piece of legislation, as others have, you come to me, say, hey, I want to write a bill on how Western should plow their sidewalks a little sooner, and I'll help you write that bill. Additionally, I act as a liaison between the executive and the legislative. This is probably what takes up the majority of my time, probably close to 20%, going to all the cabinet meetings, hearing them yap. But and this is also probably one of the hardest parts about my job, is because I kind of have to tightrope, and I'll talk a little bit about this later, but I have to tightrope in between the interests of you all, the people that I am chiefly represented, are elected to represent, as well as the interests of our executive branch. They will bring things to me, say they want it on the agenda, and I have to balance those interests between you guys and what the executive wants. That's a toughie. Gotta admit, that's been the worst part about being speaker, because it's just difficult. It's hard to tell someone who's really passionate about something, we don't have time for this right now, we're gonna have to wait. That's hard. And also, finally, the assembly's bidding, which is a really fun and cute way of saying what you guys tell me to do, sort of deal. So through motions and stuff, we all vote on. Like, for example, the motion to recess. I asked for a motion, yes, but you guys were the ones that were telling me to do it. And then from the speaker's code, the creation and cultivation of the culture of the assembly, which I hope I've done well. I mean, I hope that I've kind of brought it a nice fun culture to it, making agendas, controlling the flow of meetings, chair legislative leadership meetings, and appoint the hawk and MC. And then, so this was a question that I was asked last cycle, what makes a good speaker? So I'm going to go ahead and throw in some of my own opinions. Obviously, I am one type of speaker. There's probably 1,000 of them. I am in no way similar to the speakers that came before me. There were 2 of them before me, from the House and from the Senate. I'm no way similar to them, but also I am. And so anyway, these are what, in my opinion, makes a good speaker. Like I said, I was asked this last year. So it's someone who can speak in front of crowds. That's an easy one. I easily have 120 of you guys in front of me right now, and I'm not scared at all. No trembling, I promise. And so that, that's a hard part. It's hard to get up in front of people and speak, just in general. And that's a fear that you will have to go out and conquer if you're interested in this. Has good time management skills and boundary skills. The time management skills, this job, I probably, even though it only looks like I'm here for an hour and a half every single week, I probably spend 20, 25, 30 hours a week working on WSA junk. And it's fun, I guess. I promise it's fun. And I enjoy doing it, but you got to be good with balancing that and also, your other RSOs, or also school, of course, or just, being a human being. And then boundaries is a hard one because there's so much that goes into every single one of these meetings. There's so many random deadlines that I have to prepare for these meetings. Like every single Wednesday, I'm here 2-3 hours before setting everything up. And you have to know when to make your boundaries and when to set them and how to enforce them. Because, I mean, if to no fault of others, I don't believe people do this maliciously, but people will take advantage if you're lax on, for example, your deadline for when you need stuff for the agenda. So that's a big one. Is willing to become a Parley Pro. I know a lot about parliamentary procedure because I guess I'm a huge nerd. There's a book about this big that I have, I don't know, 500, 600 pages, Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure. We do not use Robert's Rules, but I use Robert's Rules as a basis for the parliamentary procedure that we use here. I had to read it. It was not fun. It was not an afternoon read. It was several afternoons read. Next up is willing to advocate for the Assembly's voice. That's a hard one. Kind of goes back into the liaise between the executive and the legislative. I have to say, like, I love both the previous presidents that I've had as speaker, but there's been a lot of friction in the past because of just competing interests. I don't want a 140-minute meeting for you guys, and so I have to cut things off. And that there's some friction there, for example. And then good technical writing skills, this kind of feeds into things. As I have become speaker, I've kind of assumed the mantle of taking over all official documentation of the Western Student Association, at least all documentation that goes through the assembly, which is a lot. And so you have to know how to technically write. I mean, I've written a lot of the legislation that we have here. The speaker's code is 32 pages. I've written that. It's hard, and you gotta know how to do that, and you gotta be willing to learn how to do that. Next up, another hard one: can act neutral. That one's pretty difficult, especially I have a lot of opinions and I can't really talk about them. But when I'm up here and I am acting as speaker, I need to act in my neutral sense, because if I skew one way or the other, you guys might skew one way or the other. Good one, Luke. And finally is dedicated to the assembly and leadership in general. WSA leadership positions are paid positions, but they're not paid super well. I'll say that, I work 20, 30 hours a week and I get paid for probably 3 of them. Which is, every cycle I get paid at minimum wage for 7.5 hours of those 20, 30 hours. And so you got to be willing to be in it, not for the money. I don't think anyone in WSA is here for the money. I think some of us on the executive side are here for the parking pass. But other than that, I don't think any of us are in it for the money or the bonus. We're in it for it because it's fun. Moving forward, I'm just going to go ahead and touch on the speaker election that's going to happen this year. The 3rd of April is nomination day. How it worked last year, an assembly member nominated me, raised their little hand, said I nominate Sam Longlet. And any assembly member can nominate any student, that includes yourself. I can stand here right now and I can say I nominate Sam Longlet for the Speaker of the Assembly. And then during that portion of the meeting, the Chief Justice will assume the chair position. So what I'm doing right now, leading a meeting, they'll take over for like 10 minutes when nominations are called. They'll be called 3 times in the similar fashion that the nominations are called for academic chairs. And then the next week, on the 10th of April, we have election day. There is no rules against it, but typically the speaker is not something that you campaign for. You don't go out, you don't go tabling, you don't get endorsements and stuff like that. It's all about, pitching your idea in front of the assembly. There's just been no, what's the word for it, history of anything like that. It's going to work as a normal competitive confirmation. We haven't had any of those this year, but essentially, the 2 candidates, if there's more than one, will stand up, speak. They'll both be given a time to introduce themselves, and whomever will go first is the first person to have been nominated. And then there'll be a Q&A where questions will be directed at both of them, and so every single question will have to be answered by both of them, and then they'll all be kicked out for discussion. And then there's a nominee selection. So we raise your hand if you vote for Joe, raise your hand if you vote for Jane, and then a confirmation. So it's a double vote. And then finally, on the 15th is our end of the year ceremony. I just want to plug this real quick. It's a great banquet. It's up at Heritage Hall. A lot of fun, free food, free pictures. Whoa. Super fun. And that's when the swearing in of the speaker, the new president, the new vice president, and the new chief of staff happens, like what happened earlier. So with that, that's the end of my presentation here. Travis, do you mind running Mike for questions, or Alicia, or whomever? If there's any questions, of course. Any questions? I guess you're right. It would be Travis's.
Name, position, pronouns.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tamara Williams. I'm currently a junior here at Western. I'm representing my sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And my question to you is, what motivates you to keep being in this specific position?
I personally just really like speaking. I yap a lot. But honest to God, I really enjoy being in front of everyone. I mean, like, I can take all the nastiness, the boring, the late nights working on governing documents, so long as I have this, where I speak in front of guys and I see the assembly grow every single day, that's what gives me the passion for it. Additionally, who is here in WSA in the spring of 2022? Nerds, God. That's when we passed our constitution that created this assembly, that created something that was different than every single legislative branch from any student government that I've talked to. We go to a lot of conferences, we've talked to a lot. We are the only student government in Michigan, and that I have heard of, that opens our doors to every single student here at Western. We're the only one that does that, and that also helps, because that feels great. And feels great that we are the most inclusive. We don't close our doors to people. We don't have quotas, etc. That feels good. Those 2 big things. Seeing how the legislative that I built on paper play out, and also just being here is pretty neat.
Thank you so much.
Hi, just a quick question. What day was the presidency sworn in thing?
4:15.
All right, thank you.
It's a Wednesday, 5:30. It's a fun one. I've only been to one so far, but they're fun. Yeah.
Amal, chair of the, housing variation. I heard that good speakers will only, I'm sorry, what makes a good speaker is the willingness to sing like.
This is a confirmation. I admit to you all right now that I have never, not even once, sang the fight song while we were all doing it. And how's this? How's this? Next week is our sandwich activity. I will sing the fight song next week. Perfect. Great. Woo! Sorry, Emma. Any other questions? I don't know the words. I'm not going to look at the screen. That's cheating. Any other questions? All right. I also will just mention at this point that just because myself, I have told this to other people, just because myself, I am planning on running again for reelection does not mean that you cannot. I very much encourage that competition. I think that what makes the assembly so great is the competing ideas, working together sort of deal. And so please, if you want to, do it. Don't let that stop you. All right, moving on. We have a recognition of Assembly Member of the Month. What, did I miss something? What? Oh, I don't know where it went. I'm sorry. I don't know where it's gone in all my tabs. Next up, I don't know where it is. Next up, we have our recognition of the December Assembly Member of the Month. Ooh, look at it. Can we get an ooh and an ah? So when I say this person's name, if they could please rise and then join me at the podium. And then after I read it all out loud, I'll go ahead and hand them and take pictures with Alex. All right. Recognition of the 2023 Assembly Member of the Month for the month of December, recognition number 2023-008, the last thing to come out of 2023. Whereas head of committees Alicia H. Ewing has, since the creation of the position of head of committees, served with integrity, innovation, and wisdom, and has assumed the responsibility of not only overseeing the committee chairs of the Assembly, but also of cementing the head of committee's position as a truly crucial position within the Assembly of the Western Student Association. And whereas head of committees Alicia H. Ewing, over the course of her tenure in office since confirmation on September 6, 2023, has contributed significantly to the ever-increasing growth and importance of the Legislative Leadership Committee, increasing its purpose to not only that of an advisory board to the Speaker, but also a place for the future leaders of the Western Student Association to be mentored, a change that is beyond important for the future of the Western Student Association. And whereas Speaker Samuel J. Longlet and Secretary Travis W. Nelson wish to extend special appreciation to our good friend, head of committees Alicia H. Ewing, to her dedication, service, and love towards the Assembly of the Western Student Association and the students for which it represents. Therefore, let it be known that the Assembly of the Western Student Association recognizes head of committee Alicia H. Ewing as a 2023 Assembly Member of the Month for the month of December. I'm not gonna say. Cheese. There you go. That better be displayed on your home.
In my home.
In your home. All right, it's moving swiftly forward on this RPACT agenda. The chair recognizes Tyler Smith, Clayton Weirda, and Marcus Buman for the spring 2024 allocations bylaws review. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the changes pulled up. How do I pronounce it?
Beeman.
Ah! Oh, nobody look at my Slack. Give me one sec here, fellas. My bad. Here it is. Go. Let me just resume this and start conferencing once more. And you're good. Go crazy.
All right, good evening, friends of WSA. My name is Tyler Smith, and I serve as the Director of Allocations for WSA. And alongside me here is Marcus Beeman, our Treasurer, and our Assistant Director, Clayton Weirda. And today, we are going to be suggesting changes to our bylaws that we have witnessed some needed changes in our time of overseeing this process, and then we'll be taking a vote on that today. So first, I will start off with who we are. This is a really sensitive keyboard. Okay, who we are. As a standing committee of the Western Student Association, the Western Student Association Allocations Commission allocates the portion of the student assessment fee, which each student at WMU pays for $42 each semester into, and then we allocate that towards registered student organizations. Our purpose, allocation strives to oversee equitable and sustainable financial distribution to RSOs. And we are here today to suggest changes to our updates based on recent developments, both on the number of RSOs that we have served and the amount that we have taken in from the staff.
Okay, so the first change that we propose is for section 8.0.4, we want to add section 3 that the allocations commissions will be given the authority to deny funding requests for the reasons beyond WSAAC bylaws restriction. For such cases, RSOs will be given the opportunity to state their appeal to the commission chair, and the appeal will occur through the WSA Assembly and have funding approved from a majority approval. If the Assembly denies the appeal, then an RSO can appeal to the Judicial Council if there was a procedural wrongdoing for proposals denied for reasons within the bylaws. The appeal will go to the Judicial Council. This is mainly because there's a lot of stuff that just isn't really in the actual allocations, just bylaws themselves. And we want to have at least like some way of actually being able to like deny funding requests. It's mainly for like, we just do not always see every single thing. There could be one thing that we just do not see, and then it ends up being the case that we might not want to support it. So we want to actually have some sort of actual way to actually deny funding proposals. It's not just, oh, we feel like denying the proposal, so we're going to deny it. So we're not going to do that. Oh, I see a hand.
Let me. I gotta bring the money.
Bill.
Hi guys, thank you. So I'm Will. I'm with a few different orgs. And my pronouns are he and his. So just a question and just a clarification here. This is only for the pre-approval process. So this does not refer to after, say, an allocations request is accepted. You cannot revoke the funding after the fact, correct?
Yeah, if during the deliberations allocations voted to accept the budget proposal and approve of it, yeah, there's certainly no revoking it. This is stating that we're not able to predict everything that comes towards us, and we're uncomfortable every month something new comes up. We're like, oh, I would have never thought of that. We should definitely not fund for that. So this is saying that we need the authority to be able to deny funding proposals just based on feeling, but then this is also stating that if it is the case that it's not in our bylaws, that RSO will be able to appeal to the assembly here, and then the assembly would vote on if they should approve that budget or not. Does that answer your question?
I got.
This is Bahar. I'm from Persian Students Organization. My pronouns is she. And my question is, can you define the blacklisted RSOs? What can cause an RSO to be blacklisted, and what do you mean by that?
Okay, so blacklisted, we're meaning that if an RSO gave us false information about their organization, misused funds, there's been a situation where an RSO turned in fake receipts and then we were trying to get some reimbursement from that. So essentially any wrongdoing on behalf of the RSO. But of course, that's going to be also including the Judicial Council to make sure that they are that we have some checks and balances there too, that we're not just saying your RSO shouldn't get funding or if it should. Is to answer your question?
Oh,
just because I got a quick question about it, I forgot to announce it. The speaker, through my powers, blah, 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 to suspend the rules in this particular, section. Questions can be used in this introduction question. We'll just go ahead and skip questions.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Comer. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm the president of Empower Youth. I was wondering, how does allocation work in terms of collaboration? Meaning, let's say there's an RSO that I want to collaborate. We want to set a budget for the event, but we both want to obviously send in our proposals. How does that work, and what would you recommend as the easiest solution to that?
Yeah, so you'd get together with your RSOs that are looking to put on an event together. I have to say that a better time for me to answer this question would be outside of presenting our changes to our bylaws. There will be some changes to collaboration funding later on in this presentation. But yeah, I think that we can have a discussion after this meeting specifically about that.
And next, we have our second proposed change. This is mainly the section 6.0.3 for funding. And basically, the proposed change is we want to add 6.0.3C8, events that host a political candidate that actively campaigns at the end of events. Basically, we want to actually just mainly say, okay, this is mainly just we do not want necessarily staff to basically say that we support a candidate. And also, we're not really going to just support a candidate, like give money to a candidate to campaign. That's mainly all this is. It's not really just like a whole big thing, but it's actually just something that we're not going to specifically give money for political candidates. You can have political candidates come here, just we're not going to financially support them.
Will again. So, question with this one is, has there been any history of candidates coming on this campus and actively campaigning in the past?
Yeah, so there was an instance this past December for an allocated event that was approved just in November. It was not to our knowledge that a political candidate was going to be there campaigning. I don't know the full details of it, and I don't think it's best to share the full details of it. But the Office of Government Relations has come to us requesting that we specify that this should not be allowed with SAP funds.
All right, we want to make a change to section 6.03 regarding the dates of events and conferences. So we want to add propose change add section 6.03 1B, events that occur at a minimum of 7 days after deliberation in which funding was requested, and add section 6.05D, the commission shall only fund conferences that occur at a minimum of 7 days after the deliberations for which the funding was requested. This is basically beyond or for the Office of Student Engagement, who deals with all the receipts and the payments for that. And it's a really big hassle when we have events that occur right after deliberations that need to be paid for now. That is beyond what the OSC can provide at that time. So this adds just some leeway for everyone. Proposed change number 4 is based off the qualifications. We want to add section 8 that for people who have not already applied for funding for 2 separate months of deliberations in the same semester. So this means that we don't want RSOs coming to every single deliberation, as in for the fall we have 4, in the spring we have 3, and we have RSOs that will come and do specific budget requests for each deliberation, but we have to go through a process of approving that and verifying that every single time, even when they could just put all those proposals onto one deliberation, because there's not a maximum amount of proposals you can do at a deliberation. So we just want to ease up our time and make the process a lot smoother for everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially allocations has seen that there are some RSOs that literally come to every deliberations. And the problem with it on our end is that we have to schedule time in a deliberation every time for them to come. We spend about 15 to 20 minutes on every RSO that requests funding through us. So when we have about we've had 75 RSOs request funding in 1 month, which is a lot of work on our end. Sam speaks to how he works 20 to 30 hours a week, as do I. And when you are coming to deliberations every time, it is just seriously adding to our workload. We're not trying to discourage RSOs from coming. We're just trying to discourage you from coming every single time. And we want you to plan ahead and be able to put all your budgets in one deliberation or two deliberations. It's simply for allocations workload.
Proposed change number 5 is regarding brown and gold provision. A proposed change is to completely remove this from the bylaws. So we want to get rid of brown and gold just because it takes up so much assembly time, and we are making changes later that you will see that will make up for that partially. But we just want to make it easier for everyone in assembly so other bills can get passed.
Can you briefly describe like what changes will be made? Will there still be an opportunity to double that operational or conference funding?
So regarding the operational funding, we have that in a few slides here. We're going to get into our budget limitations proposals next after this. These are just some procedural changes. And I think there you'll see specifically operational funding, how that's going to change without brown and gold. I think that's all your slides. All right, with that, I will take over here and we're going to discuss some recent developments with how many RSOs we serve and how much funding we take in. So this graph here represents the number of RSOs served for the past 9 semesters. I started this role as Director of Allocations in the fall of 2020, or the fall of 2022. And in my time of serving in allocations, we have tripled the amount of organizations that we serve, which is awesome. We're serving more organizations. Our resource is being spread out across campus, and we're really proud to see this change. Unfortunately, on the opposite end, the amount of money that we receive is decreasing. So at one rate, we have more organizations we serve, less funds coming in. A big part of this story is that COVID, RSOs in 2020 and 2021 were not super active, yet students were paying into the student assessment fee each semester, and this surplus accumulated. And when I took this job, we had $600,000 of surplus alone on top of taking in $222,000 from the SAP. So that semester we had a lot of money to spend, and so we didn't have, we were able to spend a lot more, and our caps were allowed to be a lot higher. Throughout this past semester and semesters previously, we have slowly decreased the surplus, and we're here today to tell you that this surplus is nearing its exhaustion, and if changes aren't made, we may run out of funds before the planned deliberations, and then at that point it will just be who came to us first. So we want to make sure that these funds are being able to reach those 120 RSOs, and we're already getting requests for new RSOs that haven't requested funding. So I'm imagining that 120 RSOs that we served last semester may go even to 150 organizations. So it's just important to note the trend of increasing RSOs we're serving and decreasing funds that we're taking in. This next graph here tells a story of how our funds were spent last semester. We had 4 deliberations. Our staff intake from tuition was spent in the middle of our September deliberations. We didn't even make it through 2 rounds of deliberations with what we took in from the staff, and instead we relied on our surplus. And as you can see, we've spent about half of that surplus alone this past semester, and it's not sustainable, and we're not going to be able to continue doing that. A simple glance at distribution. Our current approximation of SAP intake each semester is about $210,000. And again, the amount of unique RSOs we served last semester was 118. So if you simply divide 210,000 to 118, you get about 1780. So a hypothetical limit per semester of each RSO with $151,500 limit each semester for 118 RSOs, we need $177,000. And then if we did 1,750 RSOs, we would need $206,500. And if we had $2,000 per semester, we'd be going over that staff rate. So that really visualizes how we'd be going over with a simple limit per semester. But if anyone can remember, last December, we gave a survey out to this assembly here. And in that survey, we suggested maybe the most cost-effective solution to this is a tiered system of ranking RSOs based on accessibility, membership, and how they collect funds outside of allocations. So here we are proposing a tiered system for how we move forward with funding RSOs. 6.02 states right now that each RSO is allowed $18,000 per academic year on a first come, first served basis. What we are proposing is instead a tiered system again with membership defined as currently enrolled WMU students who regularly attend your RSO meetings. If you have 4 to 10 members, you get 1 point. If you have 11 to 30, you have 2 points. If you have 31 to 60, 3 points. And if you have more than 60, you would get 4 points. So each of these categories, you would add up the amount of points that you have, and then at the bottom, you would have your annual limit. So it will vary based RSO to RSO. And then accessibility. Are your regular meetings on campus? That would be 2 points for RSO. Or do you meet off campus? That would be 1 point. Can anyone join your RSO, regardless of ethnicity, race, gender, or competing to be in your RSO? You would get 3 points for accessibility. If you have restricted membership as defined as students have to qualify, compete, or meet criteria such as race, gender, or major, you would get no points for that. And then fundraising, RSOs collecting funds outside of allocations would get 1 point. If your RSO does not get funding outside of allocations, you would get no points. So you would add up points for your RSO, and that will be your annual limit. Your annual limit will serve as precedence over each of the type of funding limits. So even though the funding limits may be slightly higher, the annual limit is what's going to cut you off. Yeah, I imagine there were questions for this one.
My name is Austin, representing IFC or Intermediate Council, he and his pronouns. My question kind of falls under this accessibility category. There's a few RSOs that are protected under Title IX with, you know, having certain races, especially when it comes to Greek life and who can be a part of those. But what is there something we could do, or that, you know, how would that work with this point system and tiered system?
So the way allocations see it is that we represent each and every individual Western paying into this, and we want to be able to encourage people to go to an RSO. We want to encourage RSOs to welcome everyone. We understand that that's not going to be the case for every RSO, but we see that this money is spent best for our campus community if it is just easily accessible for anyone to join your RSO. We're not trying to penalize you by having a selective process, but in the interest of students paying into this, just the average Western student, we want it as accessible as possible.
Hi, my name is Simone Holden. I go by she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm the president of the Skydive Broncos organization. And my question is that instead of $18,000 our limit annually, we're going to be cut down. Even if we meet all the criteria in your proposal change, our limit is $5,000 now.
That's best case scenario.
Okay. And as a club that runs and probably spends about $30,000 per year, are you going to offer any sort of like way or guide us to maybe collect more funding for our members? Because now, if we can only accept $5,000 for a club, we're going to become even less accessible to our students, and it's going to diminish the value of my organization.
Absolutely. It's definitely worth saying that this is bad news for all of us, but we have to share this burden, right? It's just not feasible to continue spending the way that we are. Otherwise, we're going to run out of money in one deliberation or two deliberations, and we want to make sure that there's enough funds to go around.
Hi, my name is Ainsley Ram. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the president of Up for Business. Now, Up for Business is a new student organization, so we are working with a limited number of new members right now as we're growing. And because our point system will probably be pretty low, do you have any other resources or anything you can recommend for myself and other new organizations as we're trying to receive funding so we can do things like market and hold events?
Yeah, so there are other funding opportunities that you can get from the student assessment fee. The student assessment fee supports WSA allocations, the Student Media Group, which is Wider and Western Herald, as well as the Sports Club Council and the Graduate Student Association, which is not currently active. But you can get collaboration funding from CAB and WSA for events. So you can get allocations from other places besides WSA allocations.
So for this one, a huge weakness I see is that this policy in particular could diminish smaller clubs from hosting the same sort of amazing events with the same sort of necessary funding as larger clubs. And my argument there would be that a small club with 5 or 10 people is capable of throwing something as amazing as a club with 50 people, with obvious exceptions. But my question to you is, if we needed to come up with alternative solutions that excluded tiers, do you have any alternative solutions to this proposed change?
Yes, we do. But I do want to touch on how I do recognize that weakness as well as it discourages the smaller RSOs. But we feel as though a larger RSO has more impact on campus and has the resources and the touch to bring in a lot of members for an event. And also small organizations would have the opportunity at collaboration events, which in later slides here will show that you have a larger funding opportunity to collaborate with other RSOs to put on an event rather than just your RSO alone. We do have a second option. We think that this is most cost effective and we're advocating for this one, but we do have a secondary option proposed later on in this presentation regarding annual funding. Also, Sam, can I mention that there are 12 proposed changes here, so we're about halfway through.
My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm representing my sorority, which is Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. From hearing all of this, I really just want to make sure that I'm hearing everything out, and I do have a question at the end. Which is, so to clarify, the money an organization can gain is based on the point system, but then you also base it off how many people is in the organization, and as a first come first served basis. But I'm also hearing that you can put all of your deliberations into one deliberation. But how do you all expect us to receive the certain amount of funds that we need in that time frame? Specifically for like Greeks and other Black orgs on campus as well. And then another question that I have is, what do you consider attending like regularly? Like how many meetings do you consider the amount of, I guess, in order to, I guess, get those funds or get those points as well?
Definitely. Again, I would touch on how the RSOs, you know, the expenses that they face vary from RSO to RSO, and we recognize that this likely isn't going to cover all of your expenses. Once again, the purpose of doing this is that we are distributing these funds equally across campus, and we're able to reach multiple RSOs and not run out of funding by funding few RSOs with larger amounts. To address your question about the membership, I do agree that I think that maybe we could be more clear about how we're defining that here. Maybe we could base it on how your RSO defines memberships and how you, you know, how many absences or how active do they have to be. So yeah, I do think that we could be more clear there. But my current suggestion is just RSOs who WMU students who regularly attend meetings.
Guys, just because they are halfway through their presentation and we are almost at 20 minutes for this agenda item, I will ask that the questions be held to the end. There are remaining other segments, and we can go ahead and proceed.
All right, with that, that was the biggest change here, and then these are just going to take that tiered system and apply that to each type of funding limitation. Proposed change number 7 touches on event funding opportunities, and we are suggesting that with changing the current $8,000 limit per semester for an RSO, we shall not exceed $3,000 per semester, adding to that a $500 per semester limit for off-campus events, because we consider that far less accessible for students to get to that are paying into the SAF. And last semester, we proposed a change for giveaways to be allowed at events for $200. I want to clarify that it's for promotional giveaways. We can't give away like gift bags or gift cards or scholarships. We need to clarify promotional giveaways that are clearly advocating and branding your RSO. How this is going to affect conference funding. Currently, we have a $5,000 limit per academic year for an RSO, but we suggest that it should be $3,000 per semester. And then regarding Bronco funding, I don't know how many people are familiar with this, but this type of funding is for individuals, not for RSOs, who have an idea for an event or a resource on campus that they want to bring. They can still come to allocations, even if they don't have an RSO that they belong to be able to put on that event that benefits campus or that resource. Currently, there's a $4,000 limit per event and $8,000 per academic year. And we are suggesting that Bronco funding shall not exceed $2,000 per academic year to the organizing committee. And just to give you some context, in my almost 2 years of doing this, we've only had one person request this funding. Regarding collaboration funding, this is for events that you want to put on with multiple RSOs, as the gentleman asked earlier. Currently, collaboration funding will not exceed $15,000 per academic year to collaborating RSOs, and each RSO is requesting that can get up to $5,000. Again, this isn't sustainable. We can't keep spending like this. The collaboration funding we propose will not exceed $3,000 per RSO. So if you got together with 4 RSOs, which is the limit, you could get theoretically $12,000 for that event per year. Proposed change number 11 regards the operational funding, which was brought into question about how that will affect Brown and with the removing of Brown and Gold. So currently you can get $1,000 per semester, and we are proposing that you can get $2,000 per semester because we recognize that some RSOs need that support. But we don't want $2,000 to be spent entirely on pizza or entirely on jackets or shirts. That we limit food, merchandise, and promotional materials will not exceed 50% of your operational budget, meaning theoretically that you can get up to $1,000 for that operational funding for food, merchandise, and promotional equipment. But equipment for your RSO can be allocated for 100% of that operational budget. That was all that I had for the tiered system and setting the limits at each type of funding. If we recognize that the tiered system might be quite controversial, and if so, rather than a tiered system, allocation would propose a flat annual cap of $3,500 to each RSO. And each funding type proposed limit, as I previously explained, would still apply. To summarize this presentation here, the Allocations Commission has spent considerable time before winter break, during winter break, and the spring semester to put together these changes and lay out this presentation. Our suggestions are based on our perspective of overseeing this process, the survey that we gave out to the assembly in December, and also feedback from the Office of Student Engagement, who oversees the payment and reimbursement process. While our ideas may not be perfect, we believe that this is the most cost-effective method to support RSOs through the student assessment fee. Changes to the allocations process will always have the opportunity to be altered through the assembly at future meetings. And most importantly, we fear that if action is not taken to reduce budget amounts, allocations will run out of funds before the conclusion of plan deliberations this semester. And with that, that wraps up this presentation.
Any questions? Sure, there's a lot. All right, make sure to raise them high. On campus. All right, everybody's only be able to answer one question. Sorry, guys, but from this point onward, we're only be able to answer one question. What? Oh, I could have them come up. You guys want to come up? Are you guys okay coming up? You guys want to sit? Come on up. Come on. Come ask your questions. Come here. I don't bite. Yeah, I actually heard you pushing the shot. Yeah, name, pronouns, position. Make sure you say that.
My name is Ken Egan. I'm asking if SEC members still is limited to one candidate.
Yeah, there will be no changes, no suggested changes to that.
So your point system is excluded.
Yeah, it still mentions in operational funding that sports club council members are allowed $1,000 for operational funding per semester. And our reasoning there is because the LCC has their own allocation system.
You suggested that to get other funding, it's not WSA, other clubs should look into getting funding from other sources.
Yeah, allocations, as it currently stands, that we could provide SCC members with $1,000 of operational funding, and we are not suggesting changing that currently.
I'm sorry, just as a reminder for this period, follow questions not be asked. I'm sorry, that's probably I apologize. You're fine though.
My question is, will these effects be put in immediately?
Yes. As soon as the January deliberation.
It will be put into.
Yeah.
And we spent money this past semester, but last semester, will we still get this $5,000 limit, or are we completely done for the annual?
Anything that was, great question, and I was hoping that would come up. Anything that was allocated last semester will obviously still be there for you to spend. We're not taking that away. This is just affecting allocations from here on out this semester and future deliberations. And so there was an annual limit of $18,000 before, but as you can see, we're suggesting lowering that considerably. But it would take effect immediately, and what was allocated for is not going to be revoked.
Just like a clarifying question, I'm sorry, Sam. For the event funding, you said that for off-campus events, all of our events happen at an airport that's like 30 minutes away. You said that there is just a cap for only $500 period.
Right, because as our reasoning there, as you said, is an airport 30 minutes away is not accessible as compared to an event on campus where there are free buses for WMU students and where students live nearby and often on campus for.
My name is Ryan Rubarth, he, him, and I'm the RSO Assembly member for Formula Society of Automotive Engineers. My question for you is, when that $18,000 budget was established, how many unique RSOs did you serve? And compare that to how many you anticipate to serve this semester?
Thank you for that question. When we put together last January, before last January, the annual limit was $25,000. And how many RSOs were we serving at that time? Around 30. So when we said 18, then it was around 60 RSOs that we're funding, and now we're funding 118 and more. So, and with that too, we had the COVID surplus that we were able to spend even beyond what we took in from the staff.
The question is regarding the accessibility and fundraising opportunities that are outlined in the tiered system. So for accessibility, I'll be counting how accessible an RSO is in regards to membership fees as well, because that financial accessibility is also an important factor when considering what RSO any student can join. And then if that also can count as maybe the funding opportunities outside of WSA.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point that I don't think that we considered of, you know, to be a member, sometimes you have to pay, you know, dues. While we do definitely consider collecting dues as fundraising outside of allocation, so you would have a point for that. Yeah, maybe that is worthwhile to consider how accessible you are to allow members to join your organization based on what are the dues cost. But at this current moment, we don't have that included in these suggestions, but I think that's a good point.
Hi, I'm Mia Vandenberg. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm with the Society for Excellence in Human Resources. I had a question for clarification on the tiered system. Under the accessibility category, it seems that it's possible to earn up to 5 points because each option does not seem to be mutually exclusive. So I was wondering in each category, if you would earn a maximum of 3 points there, or if you could earn 5.
Yeah, you raise a good point of how we could be making that more clear. You can, there are kind of two separate things that you can get funding for. The first question, and we have, say this tiered system passes and we implement this, we have a Google form questionnaire that asks these questions, and then that'll tally up the points for us. And so it is separate. For one question is, are your regular meetings on or off campus? And then you would get those points. And then also, can anyone join in the membership? So there are two things. So you could get 5 points out of it.
My name is Robert Maddox. I'm the treasurer for the Rock Climbing Club here, and my pronouns are he, him, his. My question is, will we be voting on these proposals? And if so, what happens if we reject them?
You're talking about the proposals laid before you now. What happens if you reject them? Well, our current bylaws stay as is. RSOs are allowed 18K, but as I said, we're running the risk of running out of funds before March this semester and in coming deliberations as well.
Student organization. Our RSO is mainly a graduate student RSO, not because we want to, because everyone at Foxtrot is a graduate student. And so that is how we use our accessibility, I guess. And in the past, GSA and WSA both funded us for events. And I remember that GSA's allocation was somehow transferred to WSA. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I would like you to elaborate on that. And if yes, is the same tier gonna apply for that as well?
Okay, I understand your first question, so let me answer that one. First, when you say that you have mostly graduate students, yeah, but see, to us, the accessibility would be different than saying we only take graduate students. So if that's the case, then you would not be considered as accessible. But if you just happen to have a lot of graduate students, then that doesn't change your accessibility. The question was regarding the GSA funding and allocations. Yeah, currently GSA is not active, and allocations is not getting funds from GSA to support the graduate organizations. Yet, because GSA is inactive, we are providing funds for graduate organizations, but there is, it is likely that GSA will be up and running next academic school year.
Thank you.
We're not Bronco Robotics. I just want to clarify, when you say on-campus meetings, does that include Lloyd Hall, like the engineering?
Yeah.
Campus?
Yeah.
that buses go to?
Yep.
All right, if there are no more.
Hi, my name is Candy and I'm the International Student Council's president. And I have a question about collaboration and if there's a tier system for that.
There won't be a tiered system. It will affect the annual limit of your RSO though. If you got 4 RSOs together that were willing to put in 3K for the event, you could get $12,000 for that event then.
Two, if there are no more questions, we can now move on to discussion. Otherwise, I assume there will be lots of discussion. I'll talk about it in a second, but as for now, can you please, yeah. And, can we get some help closing some doors back there? Let's switch over to this mic because this mic is working a little better. First of all, I apologize for being a little lame about the questions. It's already 7 o'clock and we have 30 minutes left of agenda stuff, all of which are kind of important, like the budget that we are required to analyze and look at. The first day in the speaker's code, once again, first day. My bad. It might be a little bit of a late meeting, guys. So I just wanted to rush through that. So I apologize if your question wasn't able to be asked. Really do. I am sorry. But now we can go on to discussion. Similar into that brevity, we're going to go ahead and one discussion point per person, please. And I'm also, I don't want to be running around because I'm sure there's like 20 of them. So if you guys could please come up, form a line, push and shove, please. That'll be really exciting to come give your discussion points. I see no pushing and shoving. This is really disappointing.
Hi everyone, I am Nick Wheeler, Chief English Pronouns. I am the WSA advocate for the ROC as well as the academic chair for the College of Education and Human Development. One thing I want to say, as a small RSO who is not yet accepted funding from WSA, even with this tier point system, we're a very small group. We can still get a decent amount of money from that tier point system. And I understand that there are a lot of RSOs who do accept a lot of funding from the WSA. And I'm certainly ready to hear from someone as well.
But if we run out of money, then no one's getting funding, and we need to support as many different groups on campus as possible. Certain aspects of this may not seem in particular, not advantageous. It may seem to really hinder more affinity-based groups such as majors or for specific demographics, but I think we have to understand that this money is being accepted from everyone and has to be used for everyone. So if we run out this semester, especially with that surplus, then we're working with nothing going into next semester. And I'm certain that none of us want to run into that situation, so we can continue to use this as a resource to give as many resources to everyone here on campus. So that's all I have to say.
Answer my question.
RSO assembly member for Formula SAE and WMU. And I don't think I could have said it any better than he just did. I think it's a really good idea. Obviously, nobody likes budget cuts, but at the end of the day, the way that we've been spending money has not really matched the level of the rules that we have towards the limits of money that we have. I joined WSA in 2021, and there wasn't a fraction of the amount of people that there are in this room. It's awesome. Engagement is up, membership is up, fantastic. But the rules that we have for allocations now were built for that type of system, where there might have been 2 rows of people as opposed to 20 like there is now. So I think that changing the rules to kind of adapt to the new assembly that we have today is a great idea. Obviously, not great, but like you said, we got to make sure that there's enough money for everybody and not just first come, first serve. I think that'll turn into a little bit of a frenzy, and that's not a good idea. So I think voting against this proposal would be financially reckless. I recommend it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Will. So what Ryan said, so I think Ryan's really brilliant. I think he's got it, he's right on the money. But I'm going to be contrarian here. And I know that does being contrarian does pose great risks to the allocations body, I get that. But when we're voting on this package of goods, we're voting on all of the bills together, all the proposed changes. And I see some like really harmful problems, specifically with number 6, the tiered system. I think that would really diminish a lot of efforts on this campus. Specifically, the biggest that I see is in terms of diversity efforts and everything that this body stands for. I think when I think about the makeup of some of the largest clubs on campus, a lot of those clubs are Greek life. They're large fraternities, sororities, and that's great for those clubs that have 50+ members. They also pay excessive due amounts. Versus some clubs that pay $50 in dues, there's other clubs paying, I don't know, in the thousands, I believe. So what that means is those clubs have greater quote-unquote fundraising, despite that just being due amounts. And so essentially, that rewards clubs who pay higher dues, thus giving resources to clubs with members who can afford such dues, i.e. those belonging to wealthier socioeconomic statuses. So in short, my biggest problem with this entire proposal is number 6. The tier system. I think it rewards larger clubs and it diminishes the efforts of smaller clubs who are just as capable of throwing awesome events on campus. And I think that needs a huge relook. So I urge you to look at that one with in a questioning capacity. Thank you.
My name is David Gaspar, I represent the chemistry field as well as the College of Arts and Sciences. I just want to point out that we do have a proposal to raise the student allocations going to $62. So right now we're at $42. So I think this proposal is really just to stem the bleeding. If you want to make change to this, I would say support it now, and then we can always come back to it once we have more funding. With if you support the increase in that allocation space, that's all I have to say.
You're executive officer for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I agree that we need to find for a solution for the depleting allocations funds. I do think that this is disproportionately affecting the smaller RSOs, creating barriers for us to get funding. And I'm saying us because I'm also president of the New Soccer Student Association with smaller members. Personally, we have never asked for funds from allocations, but I understand that it is, first of all, a huge barrier to send a representative to every meeting if you are on a small number of RSO members, as well as, like Will said, smaller RSOs are significant for our campus and do contribute to our campus student body, as well as smaller RSOs should not be the victim of depleting funds. So I just wanted to throw, I guess, my personal opinion out there that perhaps we should urge for a reconsideration of the tiered system to see how we can make it more equitable for all ourselves of various different sizes. So thank you.
Just real quick, as an acknowledgement, we are over time. It's currently 7:04. These are the last 3 discussion points we'll be taking on this matter, and then we'll move to a vote.
Jackson Damage for Lawson Lutic's Heatham. I just want to say real quick, like those RSOs that spend a lot of money, like skydiving, I feel for you. As a member of an RSO that we don't really spend too much money. Look for outside sponsors. There's a lot of them in the area. I think we just came up with a list for our next t-shirt design. I think we came up with like 100 local companies that we thought would support us, and I think that they would support you guys too.
Hello, my name is John Cooper. I'm not currently with any of the RSOs, but
General Assembly member. General Assembly member.
General Assembly member, thanks, yeah. My only wish is that this would have been brought to our attention a bit sooner before it became so urgent. However, it is urgent now. And if we reject these proposals, we will almost certainly run out of money before this year is up, which won't just affect the big ones, it will affect literally anybody who wants money at all. That is going to be a disaster. If we don't rip out this Band-Aid, it's just gonna hurt everybody, not just those who think that it will be most impacted by it. I urge you to support these proposals, even if you think that they will hurt.
Hi, my name is Kenny again, and I'm from the International Student Council as a president. I believe in terms of diversity and in terms of international students wise, I think that definitely the tiered system is very flawed, even though it's very last minute. I think in the long run, just giving an example, like Malaysian Student Association, they have one big event that they do per year, which gathers a lot of attendance. However, on a daily basis, because it's Malaysian, so the membership would be in terms of Malaysian students. So the attendance wouldn't be that high. So my suggestion to this change is to change it in terms of event-based system or tier. In terms of events, if it's a big event which gathers a lot of attendance, they should definitely fund more towards that event. And if it's not, then that could be another, that could be lesser. So that's what I would suggest. But in terms of long runs, I don't think this is a great idea.
All right, with that, our last discussion, we will move quickly on to our vote. I don't know, I just got a little feeling in me that this might be a hand count vote. But just in case, is there a motion? Technically, these are all amendments to our current system, so is there a motion to amend? Is there a second to that motion? As this does not deal directly with money, consent can be called. Is there opposition? All right, can I get some, can you guys help me vote count? Yeah, all right. I will be counting the left side, Alicia in the middle, Alex in the right.
All in favor?
My left side. All in favor, please raise your placard or your hand if you don't have stuff. Yeah. Three. This is gonna pass. 23 plus 18 plus 26. Negatives. What's our total vote count? All opposed? Raise them higher slightly.
Close.
All right, after almost an hour of debate, discussion, and questions, the motion passes 67 in favor, 10 opposed, 9 abstentions. We will now very quickly move on to the next little bit here, because I promised. What? Oh, that's right. Welcome back. It's been a while, guys. It's been a whole month. All right. Well, we can welcome back our allocations team with our slow clap. Moving swiftly forward, the chair recognizes Mason DeRod for the spring 2024 budget of the Western Student Association. Be oh so quick.
Hi, everyone. I am Mason Gerard. I am WSA's Chief of Finance. In presenting the WSA budget for the spring semester, I do want to note this is not allocations. completely different pot of money. So none of this is on the allocations end. Some changes from the fall semester is that our collaborations and sponsorships account, which if you want to collaborate with WSA, it's another pot of money that you can get. That's if you want to work directly with WSA. So that would involve us helping plan or do the event. Those are now becoming sub-accounts of events with a 4K yearly cap on that. It's just moving it under a different category. The limit stays about the same. Our positional account, so that's more on the cabinet end. Cabinet members have a little bit of discretionary spending on smaller things for WSA related events. That's going to decrease from 4,000 to 2,000. Our summer budget, this one doesn't affect the current year because we're already through the summer, believe it or not. So this is just moving it to 3, and it kind of sets up next year for a similar style budget. Internal operations, so our day-to-day, how we operate, looking to increase from 7,000 to 11,000. And then assembly food would be moved under the operations account. Don't worry, we're still getting y'all food for the non-voting meetings. It's just gonna look a little different. It's still gonna be the same. What? Okay, thank you, Sam, for informing me that you got an email during that. Just to look at what this looks like, I have an operations 1 category, which is events, positional, and elections. Operations 2, which is internal operations, campus improvements, which is a $1,000 thing that has to go through the assembly. It's proposals to do something around campus to improve. And then the summer budget's under there as well. For transparency, I have put some of our estimated event budgets, what we're looking at for the spring. At the top there is Mental Health Week, and then Dinner with Delegates, DEI Week, we have Green Week. The RSO Summit is on there as well, and a couple different events is there on there as well, including the end of year ceremony. And that is it for the budget. I do want to mention that this is a big budget cut for WSA. It represents a little over a 30% budget cut from the fall semester. This is because, along with allocations, WSA is feeling the pinch as well. And we wouldn't be asking to cut the budget if we weren't willing to cut our own budget as well. With that.
Any questions? Get up. Run. All right, discussion points. Hearing and seeing none. Vote. My bad, guys. Deals directly with money. So consent cannot be called. So please help me count again. So all in favor? Make them high. All opposed? 0. With that, the motion passes 78 in favor, 0 opposed. We can begin our chief of finance in the garage. Next up is me. I will go lightning fast. The speaker's code is the assembly's bylaws. There's not a whole lot of changes going on this semester. Where is it? There it is. Just a few quickies. I will go so fast, I promise. First of all, I added a new responsibility to myself. It allows me to give responsibilities to other people within legislative leadership. So let me put this in perspective. Alicia is our head of committees. Travis is our secretary. If Travis is gone, I can assign Alicia the secretary work. The same right is given to our executive branch, and in my continued pursuit of making the legislative leadership an effective and purposeful body, I also added it in there. Moving forward in Article 8 on academic chairs, we just changed it. All the bold here is what has been added. What is not in bold is our current system. We changed this to reflect the current way that we do academic chairs as of now after October. Moving quickly through, Article 11 is the procedures of the assembly. So obviously our allocations package passed, and so the assembly needs a procedure for allocations appeals, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, Tyler's going to tell me, I'm going to put it on the agenda. Whomever is doing that appeal will speak. There's that. And then finally, this is the biggest change that I'm doing to the speaker's code. This is priority legislation and motions in the assembly. As I mentioned before, being Speaker of the Assembly is a very delicate balancing act between those who come first and those who have really important stuff, and also the executive and also the legislative, etc. And there's been, I typically operate on a basis of first come, first serve. If you tell me about it 3 months ago, you know, you have the priority for this agenda. But sometimes things come up that are super important, such as a motion to expel, a motion to impeach, articles of expulsion, articles of impeachment, the Speaker's Code, allocations, bylaws, and the budget, and then motion to confirm the biggies. And then there was another one, which was just the motion to allocate. It's just cut off by my silly computer. The motion to appeal, I mean. And then these here will take precedent over our current, just these, whatever, 7, will take precedent over the current first come, first serve. And these are all rare, only like one time a year sort of deals, aside from the Speaker's Code and allocation and budget. But this is a very important thing for me to be able to, make sure that we spend our time wisely. Speaking of spending our time wisely, minor edits, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. Questions? Travis, take over.
Seeing none, I'm going to vote. Since this does not deal directly with me, let's hear for a motion to approve this. So moved. Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Is there consent? Consent. Any opposition? Okay, just start the slow clap. Thank you all.
All right, and finally, moving through our agenda, our last item of new business, and then we have announcements. Just as a reminder, this is, please stay for announcements. Anyway, continuing on, next up, the chair recognizes Aya for B 2024-001 University Bill on the Palestinian Crisis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aya Zahiruddin. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I'm usually here advocating for the College of Engineering, as I'm the president of 2 of the big clubs there for Society of Women Engineers and Western Aerospace Launch Initiative, where we build a satellite. But unfortunately, this time I'm here for a different thing. I'm here as a human being, coming from a Middle Eastern background, coming as a Lebanese person who grew up there, who grew up also near to Palestine as well. What has been happening has been really horrible. I don't know how to explain it more, but seeing past 100 days where my country has been being bombed, Palestine, Gaza is a war zone. It's a genocide going on. I just need someone to speak up about it respectfully. The school has done nothing for us. I've had a hell of a semester, myself personally, calling my parents every day and my family there, and just seeing also my other Arab friends struggle. I also had struggles with certain classes with certain professors just because of my background, unfortunately. So I'm here just asking you to be a human being and acknowledge what's going on. The school acknowledged October 7, which was a horrible attack, and I agree. But what about the 100 days of genocide or about the 75 years of occupation? If the president is gonna speak up about one thing, he also has to speak up for the other group. It's not one group and the other is nothing. So all I'm asking you is be a human being, speak up about it. Basically the bill is just asking you to have our new president talk to the President Montgomery and send an email out asking to have acknowledge what is going on as it's wrong and show support to also the Arab students in here, because we exist. We very much exist and we've been very helpful on campus. And the least we expect back from Western is to show us also some support. And the other thing is to have director of marketing speak up also and post some helpful resources for people to get educated, because it's more of lack of education and no one knows what's going on and everyone just runs to say it is a complicated situation where it's really not a complicated situation. So all we need is people to be educated, know what is going on, know that there's some people here on campus are suffering and just can't do anything except try to go on their days normally. So this is what I'm asking you for. Just be a human. I'm not asking you to take a side, really. Just be a human, acknowledge what is going on, and just acknowledge that there's a genocide and there's something wrong that has been happening for the past 100 days and even for the past 75 years. Thank you.
Any questions?
Name, pronouns, position.
Luke Kritzman, he and his academic chair for College of Fine Arts, and I discussed this earlier, but I make a motion to add Luke Kritzman to co-sponsor. Oh, yeah, add Luke co-sponsor.
All right, so Luke Christman has been added to the co-sponsor list. Any other questions?
Alex Kasperzak, Director of Marketing at RH, I'd also like to be added to the co-sponsor.
Got it, you can try these.
Hi, Ali Rack, she, they, Assistant Director of Marketing at RH, I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor. From International Student Council as a president, we would also like to be added as a co-sponsor. Lynn, Candy Lynn, and LIM. That's good. And would you care more to explain about what's going on to everyone here?
Okay, I'll try to be quick because we're over time, but I'll try my best. So since 1948, even before that, so before 1948, there was this country called Palestine. And then after 1948, well, after Civil War II and everything, there was the Balfour Promise, where the Jewish were offered a land and they were offered to go live in Palestine, which there was already Jewish in Palestine and it was fine. And then they were there. And then the next thing we know that England was just killing people with also Zionists. Because I want to also clarify one thing, being anti-Semitic doesn't mean being is also anti-Zionist. They're two very different things. Jewish people are not Zionists. Zionism is basically the idea that you support the fact that just taking people out of their land and taking it. So what has been going on for the 75 years, a state of Israel took over. 1948, over 2 million Palestinians has been displaced out of their country. 500,000 were like, I don't know how many were killed, honestly. There was like too many. A lot of genocides took place. They then took over the north of Lebanon, which is my home country. And it's just been a war zone, apartheid all the time, where Palestinians are considered second-time citizens. They don't have a real nationality. They took out their nationality and called them Arabs. There's 22 Arab countries. We're each one different. We each have our own culture, even our own dialect. So you don't expect us to just call us all Arabs and just put us all together. They have their own country, and we're all living happily between every single religion. And then out of nowhere, and also to clarify, Arabs doesn't mean just you're Muslim. I am not Muslim for myself, for example, but we all live together. We all share countries. We all share traditions. So it's just, so since 1948, that happened. And then recently, October 7 happened, where there was this Hamas attack, which is like, it's kind of like a terrorist group, but also it doesn't represent the Palestinians. They attacked Israel, which is kind of sad, but also at the same time, you need to keep in mind there's a 75 years of occupation. So there's normally an attack would happen, a resistance will show up. That is very normal in when there's an occupation, apartheid. So they did an attack, and it was kind of small. It wasn't that bad. It was a bad attack, but compared to what has been happening, it is nothing. And then Israel took back and started bombing Gaza nonstop for over 100 days, clarifying that they're trying to take out the Hamas terrorists. But for some reason, being the second most smart military can't take out Hamas terrorists in 100 days. They have bombed hospitals, universities, kids. One in every four person in Palestine right now is starving and dying. There's over 50,000 who have been murdered so far, and 50% of them are kids. Gaza's population is over 50% of kids. Do you know why? Because they can't even grow up to be adults. They're always murdered when they're young. And that also excludes from the West Bank. The West Bank have been being bombed nonstop every day ever since. And the West Bank doesn't have Hamas. There's no Hamas there. Why are they bombing them? Same with North Lebanon, my country. It's getting bombed every single day by Israel for God knows why. And then they attack on my capital city, Beirut, to just take out a Hamas person. If they can do that and they can locate a person, they can so obviously do it in Gaza as well. So it doesn't make sense bombing for 100 days nonstop and getting military help from every single other European country, and then calling us terrorists and just leading misinformation like the 40 beheaded babies, which never happened at all. So it's just been a horrible thing seeing my people die every day, and just everyone's saying, yeah, they have the right to defend themselves, which I agree, but to an extent, they have cut off water, electricity, food, everything. On the side of Egypt border, there's over like 500 trucks ready to support and give aid, but Israel is not allowing it in. Do you see how messed up the situation is? And yeah, the school has not done anything or shown support to us at all during this.
I've been asked by our wonderful, beautiful Secretary of the Assembly, if you wish to co-sponsor this legislation, please raise your hand. All right, just, we'll show solidarity here, and then afterwards, please, after the meeting, go up to Travis, tell him your full name, and he'll put it on the bill. Are there any other questions non-co-sponsor related? All right, hearing and seeing none. Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we now move on to a vote. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second to this motion? Consent can be called. Consent has been called. Is anyone in opposition? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. We can begin our slow clap and welcome back in Aya. All right, we will now go briefly, very briefly, guys, into our announcements. I'm capping every single announcement at 60 seconds. So please be 30 seconds is short. So please be extremely brief, or also consider posting your announcement in the announcement Slack chat. First of all, academic chairs, committee chairs, assembly members, cabinet members, members of the general public.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Kasperzak, and I'm currently the Director of Marketing and Outreach for the Western Student Association. I've also served in several other positions during my 3 years in WSA, but today I'm here to formally announce my campaign for Student Body President. Alongside my running mates, Student Body Vice President, there he is, Luke Kritzman, and Executive Chief of Staff candidate, Jordan Dunn. The three of us have a similar goal, making Western Michigan University a home for all students. Through valuing honesty, effectiveness, and thinking onward for the brown and gold, we can empower you to find your meaning at WMU. You can find out more about our campaign throughout the season through our Instagram, home.wmu. That is HOME.WMU. Be sure to vote for the Kasperzak Kritzman Dunn slate during the student body election on February 21st through 28th via Experience WMU. Alex and Luke get things done. And it is now my honor to present, and it's a separate announcement, so just Sam, Luke, and Jordan.
Yay. Hi, guys. All right, I'm Luke Kritzman, and I'm a sophomore right now, and I'm majoring in piano performance. And I've been able to represent the College of Fine Arts as the academic chair since the fall of 2022. Now I stand here running with Alex and Jordan to hopefully become your next student body vice president. Together, I believe that we'll be great advocates for all students, and we will work together to make campus a better place for all people. Thank you.
My name is Jordan Dunn, and I'm currently serving as the Executive Officer for University Pride. I'm a freshman majoring in public policy. I'm running with Luke and Alex because I'm very passionate about creating a thriving campus and making Western home for all. Thank you.
Give me just one sec here. Let me just stop conference, pause. So how you guys doing? Let me actually download it. There we go. Come on. I'm quick. I'm almost done. I promise. Boom. That was my fault. I just forgot to pull it up. All right, go crazy.
Real quick, if you guys are interested in learning what is going on actually instead of saying it's complicated, the Arab Student Organization is gonna be hosting a history night tomorrow here in the New Center at 7 p.m. downstairs at the pub. We're gonna have a slideshow, discussion, and some snacks to explain what is going on since like 1948 till today, and just get you guys educated. So feel free to join, pass by, whatever. Just would love to see you and let people know what is exactly going on. Thank you.
No, I'm the worst. Let me just resume this. Oh, there we go.
Hi everyone, my name is Lane and my pronoun she, her, hers, and I'm the executive officer for Student Affairs. And I previously sent out an email. It's about a joint cabinet meeting where student leaders will be meeting with Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Anderson, and the provost to discuss more about any ideas that you have about campus or in classroom, out of the classroom. I've sent some invitations to all academic chairs and some RSO, big groups RSO like BSU, LSA, APASA, and National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, and CAB. And there's a lot more. So I asked if you guys could check your email and respond to it. And if anyone would like to join the joint cabinet meeting, feel free to reach out to me to be part of it and your voice will be heard. And also I'm asking if any RSO would like to join for Mental Health Week. It's gonna be on February 19 to 23rd. And remember, by joining this, you get your funding secured. Thank you.
Let me just find my thing and then I'll scroll here. Where is it, Sam? Oh, there it is. Hi everyone, I am Mason Trout. I am WSA's Chief of Finance, and as you heard earlier, there was a proposal to raise the staff fee from $42 to $62. I am the sponsor of said proposal. In order to better support RSOs in the campus community, we're looking to increase the student assessment fee. Currently, it sits at $42. We're looking to raise it to $62. We cannot sustain the amazing growth we're seeing, and with that, the allocations caps had gone down. To get on the WSA ballot to raise the staff fee, and a raise of the staff fee would help us better support RSOs, and it is very likely that we would be able to provide higher levels of funding should the staff fee be raised. I do not guarantee that, but it is very, very likely. With this, to get it on the WSA general election ballot, we need 250 signatures on that little Google form there. So if y'all wouldn't mind filling that out really quick, it only takes like 30 seconds. And sending it out to your RSOs, we really need to get on the WSA ballot and to turn out and vote from February 21st to the 28th on Experience Survey Mu to help raise the staff so we can support this amazing growth and engagement we are seeing. I'll be right over there at the end of the meeting if any of y'all have any questions. Thank you.
We will be in minutes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Meg. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm president of Broncothon at WMU. If y'all don't know about us, we're a philanthropic organization. We raise money for Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, which is our local Children's Miracle Network hospital. Essentially what we do is we ask our participants to fundraise outside of our event, and then it all culminates in one main once-a-year event, which is going to be right here in this ballroom, so you all know where it is, no excuses. And it's super fun. We usually have games, we feed you, there's lots of fundraising challenges. You don't have to be able to dance. Bad dancing saves lives. Ooh, that's embarrassing. But our event this year is February 17th, right here, 12 to 6. And you guys, the majority of y'all are probably part of an RSO. That's exactly perfect. That's what you need. You can register here or you can find us on Instagram at Broncothon, and we can't do this without y'all. Thank you.
Last call, members of the general public. Felicia. Co-sponsors, please come see Travis. What? If you want to be added to the email list, come see Travis. All of you should be on the email list, but if you're not, come see Travis. If you have not yet signed in for attendance, come see Travis. As for myself, please keep your voting cards on the table. We'll take care of it. Thank you guys so much for staying with us into this late night. I promise next week will not be this terrible. Next week is our sandwich activity. I call this meeting adjourned at Yikes, 7:35. That was a long one. Madam President.